To be very honest with you, I've always been afraid of the ocean. I mean, it looks pretty, but I'm more scared of what creatures lurk in the depths of the ocean that haven't been explored yet. So, in this video, I'm going to try to conquer my fears. Well, kind of. I'm going to be combining the ocean with something that I love, and that is, you guessed it, chemistry. And I'm bringing you all with me through all this, so it's gonna be like a fun little adventure. Let's hop right in, shall we? Have you ever seen what a kelp forest looks like? I wouldn't recommend looking it up unless you're looking for some nightmare fuel. But those have always scared me because it always seems like something is lurking in the midst of all that kelp just waiting to get you. I don't want to scare you too much, so I'm just going to stop talking about it. But I do want to recreate it, and maybe, just maybe, I'd be able to appreciate it more if I combined it with chemistry. Again, I'm going to be using the chemistry kit by Mel Science to conduct this experiment. But before we begin, we have to put on our safety gear. I've already put on my lab gown, so now I'm going to put on my gloves. After that, I'll put on my mask, and then finally, my safety goggles. Now, I'm going to list down the things we'll be using for the experiment so that we all have a basic understanding of what they are. First off, we have potassium ferrocyanide, then we have ferrous sulfate, copper sulfate, and zinc sulfate, which are different varieties of metal salts. And lastly, we have our universal solvent, water. This just means that it's used to dissolve a lot more substances compared to any other liquid. Now that we got that covered, let's proceed with the experiment. I've already prepared 100 milliliters of water, so now I'm just going to pour in 2 big scoops of potassium ferrocyanide. And I'm just going to mix that until it dissolves completely. Next, I'm putting multiple metal salts into different areas of the bottom of the beaker. That way we can observe what happens to each metal salt more easily. Now, I'm just gonna let this sit for around 30 minutes and we'll come back to it later and see what's happened. As you can see from these images, after 30 minutes, the metal salts grew into this chemical seaweed. It's not any less scary, but it's fascinating how that works, isn't it? Let me explain it to you a bit more. Basically, what happens is the reaction between the metal salt and the potassium ferrocyanide forms this film around the crystal called the semi-permeable membrane. The semi-permeable membrane is basically a film or a filter that only allows certain substances to pass through it. In this case, the semi-permeable membrane only lets water through by a process called osmosis. At the very start of the experiment, the water is outside of the membrane while the salt ions remain inside it. As time flies by, the water gradually passes through the membrane, which causes the pressure in it to increase. This is called osmotic pressure. Eventually, the film reaches its limit and breaks, thus exposing the metal salt in it to the potassium ferrocyanide, creating a new semi-permeable membrane and repeating the entire process all over again. This is how the seaweed manages to grow. If you wish to see more things like these, hit the subscribe button and make sure you turn on all notifications so that you never miss an upload. Also, give this video a like if you enjoyed, and share it with your friends who you think might be interested in the wonders of chemistry as well. Thanks for watching! Bye!